So in this unit, we are going to discuss about what is meant by sowing and the fertilizing equipment. First, we see what is meant by crop sowing. Crop production is the genetic improvement of crop to produce the new varieties with the increased productivity and the quality. Next, we see what is meant by sowing. Sowing is the art of placing a seed into the soil to have a good germination in the field. A perfect seeding gives correct amount of seeds per unit area or current depth at which seed is placed in the soil and the correct spacing between the row to row and the plant to plant. Next, we see what is meant by cropping. There are different type of cropping like monoculture and the crop rotation. First, we see what is meant by monoculture. The repetitive growth of single crop on the same field year after year is called the monoculture, and crop rotation is a repetitive growing of an orderly succession of crops on the same field, means or crop altering with the fallows. Okay, next we see what is meant by multiple cropping. This is called as a sequential cropping, like growing two or more crops in a succession on the same field per year or per growing season, sometimes refer to the double or triple cropping. Example, planting maize in May and harvesting it in August and then planting the beans. Only one crop occupies the field at a time. Next, we see what is meant by intercropping. It is the most common definition of multiple cropping, involves growing two or more crops at the same time on the same field. There are four basic variations like mixed intercropping, row intercropping, and the relay intercropping. First, we see what is meant by mixed intercropping. Two or more crops without a distinct row arrangement in the field is called mixed intercropping. Next, we see what is meant by row intercropping. Same as mixed intercropping but with a distinct row arrangement in the field. Next, we see what is meant by relay intercropping, growing two or more crops simultaneously during the life cycle. For example, planting a climbing beans. Next, we see what are the sowing seed selections depends upon the following factors. We should select whole seeds. Broken or crushed seeds should be avoided. So next, the sowing of quality of seed should be high. They should be have a high germinating capacity. Then seed should be free from the infections. Next, the seed should not be mixed with the seeds of weeds or with the other seeds. Next, seed should be free from the disease resistance. Seed should be purchased from the good shops or tagged seeds or should be supplied by the good seed agency, which means certified seeds. In India, Central Seeds Committee test gives certificates for good quality and the purity of seeds. We have to select based on the certified seeds. These seeds are known as the certified seeds. Okay. Next is called as methods of seeding. First stage, broadcasting. This is dibbling, drilling, seed dropping behind the plow. Next, transplanting, hill dropping, and the check row planting. Next, what are the devices used for the metering seeds? First, we are using horizontal plate planter, then plates with the round or oval holes, then hedge sails or hedge drop plates, then inclined plate metering devices, vertical rotor metering devices, cells in the belt, then single seat metering devices, then pneumatic metering system, vacuum pickup devices, and then seed tray planting systems. We will see detailed about the all metering devices. First, we see horizontal plate planter. It contains a spring loaded cut off devices that rides on the top of the plate and wipe off excess seeds as the cell moves beneath it. Next, a spring loaded knockout devices pushes the seed from the cells when they are over the seed tube. Next, we see the plate with the rounder oval holes used for drilling or hill dropping of row crops. Next, edge cell or edge drop plates. It is used for planting relatively large or flat seeds like corns. And this picture shows the horizontal plate planter. It contains the horizontal plates with the cells. Next, we are see devices for metering the single seeds. First is floater feed type. The floater wheels are also known as a floater roller is driven by the square shaft. They have horizontal grooves providing a outer periphery of the wheel, and wheel can be shifted aside depending upon the seed rate. These rollers are mounted at the bottom of the seed box. Next, they receive the seeds in a longitudinal grooves and passes on the seed tubes through the seed holes. Next, this picture shows the fluted feed type metering devices. Next, we see the internal double run type. The internal double run feed mechanism has a double face wheels. One face has a large opening for coarse seeds, while other face has a smaller opening for the smaller seeds. A flapper gate is provided at the bottom of the box, which covers the opening and not in use. Okay, the rate of seeding is controlled by changing the speed of the internal feed wheels. This is done by meshing the appropriate grains. This picture shows the internal double run type metering devices. Next, we see the cup feed mechanism. The mechanism consists of a circular shaft mounted with a mini circular disc. This arrangement is kept at the bottom of the seed box. When the shaft rotates, the disc also rotates. Seeds are picked up by the cup and then dropped into the funnel, from where the seed travels through the seed tube and reaches the furrows. The cup has two faces, one for larger seeds and the other for the smaller seeds. This picture shows the cup feed mechanism picture. Next, we see the brush feed mechanism. It is a mechanism in which a rotating brush regulates the flow of seeds from the hopper into the seed tube. A number of bullock drawn planters in the country uses brush feed mechanism. Next, we see the picker wheel mechanism. It is a mechanism in which a vertical plate provided with the radially projected arms picks up and drops the seeds into the furrows. It is suitable for the large size seeds like potatoes. Next, we see the inclined plate metering device. It has a cup or cells around the periphery that passes through a seed reservoir feed under the baffle from the hopper. It lifts the seeds to top of the plate travel and drop them into the delivery tube. A stationary brush is provided for the more positive unloading purpose. Okay. Next, we see the seeds are handling more gently than with the horizontal plate and unit because there is a no cut-off devices. Plate and the surrounding rings are accurately measured to provide the uniform cell sizes for precision metering. Devices for the metering single seeds, inclined plate and the vertical plate size. Next, we see the vertical roller metering devices used for the precision planting of vegetables and the sugar beets. In some units, seed tube is omitted and the rotor placed as low as possible and discharges seed directly into the furrows. These units also have seed cups which moves up through a shallow seeds reservoir, pick up single seeds, carry them over the top of the circle and discharge them during the downward travel. Next, we see what is the cells in a bell type. It is another type of precision metering device in which seeds are fit into the size. Okay, then seeds from the hopper enter the chamber above the belt through opening and are maintained to a controlled level. As belt moves in the clockwise, counter rotating seed repeller pushes back excess seeds so that only one cells in a each moves. So seeds in the cells are conveyed over the base and discharged from the belt beneath the seed repeller wheel. Okay, the lack of positive and unloading devices causes more variability in the seed spacing. This is the bell type metering devices. Next we see the pneumatic metering systems. It contains a centralized hopper and metering unit that serves 4, 6 or 8 rows. Then the ground driven seed drums has one circumferential row of perforated seed buckets for each planted row. A shallow reservoir of seed is automatically maintained in a drum by gravity flow from the hopper. A PTO driven fan supplies air to the drum, maintaining a pressure of about 4 kilopascals in the drum and in the hopper. Air escapes through holes in the seed packets until a seeds enters the packet. Then the differential pressure holds the seeds. The revolving drum carries a stationary brush near the top that knocks off any excess seeds. The air cut-off wheels on top of drum momentarily block the holes, causing seed to drop into the seed tube manifold. Next, the airflow through the tube carries the seeds to the planting unit and deposits them in the furrows. This is generally used for the crops such as corn, beans, and the grain sorghums. Next, the pneumatic principle is also used for the single row metering devices for unit planters. Small blowers driven by electric motors connected to the tractor. Electrical systems provides air pressures in the metering chambers. Seeds are held against the holes in the rotor. Seed packets are carried upward and around in a counterclockwise direction in the unit. The seeds are released into the seed tube when packet passes a baffle that cut off the inner air pressure to the front portion of the rotor. The different disc rotors are used for the different kind of seeds. Next, we see the vacuum pickup device is also available for the seed metering. In this, there is a central vacuum pump with valve to each pickup orifices seals between the stationary piping and the rotating pickup in the assembly. A stationary cam extends the piston to produce the pressure for unloading the seeds, and a spring retract into develop the vacuum for the seed pickup. Then the vacuum pickup devices can perform effectively with the small irregular shaped seeds like lettuce. These are sensitive to the dust and the dirt. The average spacing of seed and hill is determined by the ratio of linear or peripheral speed of seed pickup unit. It is to the forward speed of planter and by the distance between the seed pickup unit on the metering unit. Changing the speed ratio is the most common method of changing the seed spacing. Next, we see the seed tape planting system is the precision planting systems. In this, seeds are deposited either singly or in the group on a water-soluble table in a laboratory under the controlled condition. Next, we see the furrow openers. Furrow openers are provided in a seed drill for opening the furrows before dropping the seeds. It may be called a part of the seed drill for opening the furrows. The seed tube shifts seeds from the feed mechanism into the boot where they falls into the furrows. This image shows the furrow opening. It has a fertilizer hopper and the seed hopper. At the bottom, it has the ground wheel. The furrow in the furrow opener where the seeds are dropping. Next, we see the functional requirement of the furrow openers. Open a furrow to the required depth. Consider depth in relations to the seed type, seed size, soil temperature, soil moisture, and the light requirement, etc. Then maintains uniformity of depth along the length of the furrows and between the furrow across the width of the planter. Next, we see it causes the minimum disturbance to the seed bed. Consider disturbance in relation to the soil moisture loss, then the mixing of wet and the dry seeds in the seed zones. This is the type of furrow openers. First is the shovel type, shoe type, and the disc type. In the shovel type, there is a reversible shovel, single point shovel, and the spear point shovel. Then in disc type, there is a single disc and the double disc. This picture shows the schematic diagram of the furrow opener. First image shows the shoe type, second is a stub runner, third is a full curved runner. Then there is a double disc and a single disc. Then a single disc with a D. So here we see what is meant by furrow closer. It has a various covering devices like drag chain, drag bars, scraper blade, steel brush wheels, then rubber covered or zero pressure pneumatic wheels or disc hillers, etc. The function of covering device is to place the moist soil in contact with the seeds. Press the soil firmly around the seeds, then cover them to the proper depth and leave the soil directly above the row close enough to minimize crusting and promoting the EG emergence. Thus, for grain drills, simple drag chains are used which merely cover the seeds with loose soil where there is a ample moisture. Next, we see what is meant by furrow closures. In loose sandy soils or furrow drilling of grain in heavy residues, narrow plus wheels with steels or rubber rim are used behind the openers. These wheels increase the crop stand and yield in areas where moisture is the limiting factor. Next, the open center or concave or steel press wheels are common for corn and the other larger seed crops. Next, zero pressure pneumatic press wheels are used for vegetable crops. These are continual flexing which makes them self-cleaning. Next, we see what is meant by seed drill. Seed drill is a machine for placing seeds in a continuous flow in the furrows at uniform rate and at the controlled depth with or without the arrangement of covering them in the soil. Next, we see what are the functions of the seed drill. It helps in carrying the seeds and to open the furrow to an uniform depth. And to meter the seeds and to place the seeds in furrow in an acceptable pattern, and it also helps in cover the seeds and compact the soil around the seeds. Next, we see the component of the seed drill. First, it contains a frame, seed box, and the covering devices and the transport wheels. Next, we see what is a planter. Planting equipment or implement. It is a machine which is used to plant the seeds and recover row to row and plant to plant spacing with the proper depth. Next, we see the seed cum fertilizer drill cum planter. So, it mean by it applies helps in fertilizer and along with the planter used for sowing grains like wheat, maize, groundnut, peas, cotton and the sunflower, etc. The planting disc plates for different crops can be changed without dismantling the seed hopper shaft. The fertilizers can be used simultaneously according to the requirement. Furrow openers have been mounted on frame using the yoke clamps. These can be replaced with a ridger and bed shaper for converting it bed planter. This image shows the seed cum fertilizer drill cum planter. Next, the calibration of seedling equipments. Before taking the seed drills or crop planter into the field, it is very essential to calibrate its metering mechanism to obtain the required seed rate per hectare or per acre of the crop to be planted in the field. The following steps are followed in the calibration of the seed drills. Then next we see what is a transplanter. Transplanter is an equipment used for transplanting mat type paddy seedlings in the main field. It is suitable for all type of paddy varieties grown by transplanting. Both manually operated and mechanically operated transplanted are available. Before transplanting, the field has to be puddled well and allowed for 1 or 2 days for consolidation of soil so that machines can work without the sinkage. Next, we see the manual rice planter. The machine consists of the seedling tray, 6 number of forks, then handle and the skids. By pressing the handle, the frog pick up the seedlings and plant them in the rows. For every stroke of the handle, the seedling tray moves aside for uniform picking of seedling by the frogs. The operator has to pull the machines after finishing planting in a row. The row to row spacing is a 200 mm. Plant to plant spacing can be set as per space recommended by pulling the unit manually to the required distance. Next, it can cover 0.25 hectare per day. 2 men labors are required, one for pulling the unit and another for transporting the mat seedling. It saves time and money when compared to the manual transplanting. Next, we see the self-propelled paddy transplanted. The machine maintains a row-to-row spacing of 28 cm to 30 cm and plant-to-plant spacing of 14 to 16 cm. Then the planting capacity of the self-propelled paddy transplanter is about 0.05 to 0.1 hectare per hour. Power requirement is about 1.2 to 1.8 HP petrol engines. It saves times, money when compared to the manual transplanting. Next, we see field preparation for transplanting the rice. First, plow the field 20 to 25 cm deep using the MB plow or wood plow to expose the eggs of harmful insects, pests and remove the rhizomes of weeds. Keep the field flooded or saturated with the water. After 2 or 3 days, puddle the soil using a puddler 3 or 4 times with standing water and complete a week ahead of transplanting. Puddling helps to kill the weeds and buries them in the puddle layer. The rate of germination of weeds is also reduced in subsequent growing period of crops. Puddling helps to create beneficial physical, biological and chemical condition for the growth of the rice plant. Next, soil surface is left in a more even condition. Apply uniform half of nitrogen and total quantities of sulfur and potash on drained surface at the time of last puddling and incorporate it in the top of 10 to 15 centimeter deep into the soil. Next, we see the nursery tray machines for carrying out day-to-day routine cultural operation in the nurseries. Using various tools, implements and accessories are required. Some tools are simple and are used for the simple operations, whereas for carrying out specific operation special types of equipments are required. Tools for land preparation and other basics works are like we use kodali, garden fork, weeding fork, crowbar. Next we see tools for land preparation and other basic works. Weeding fork, we are using the weeding forks, shovel, crowbars and the kodali. Next, tools for land preparation and other basic works are like also we used shovel, pickaxe, spade, hokum rack, furrow opener. This picture shows the tools for land preparation. Next we are using the land leveler, trowel, then axe. Then the picture shows the different kind of sickles, hand levelers, bill hook and the trowel. Next, what are the tools we are used for the grafting and the budding tools in nursery is like knife, pruning saw and the secatcher. We are using the grafting machines. Many machines have been developed and commercial used for the preparation of sawn sticks and wood for budding and the grafting operation. And then we are using the pruning saw. Several type of saws are required for performing different operations in the propagation of horticulture plants. So it has a blade. It should be narrow so that it can pass through the narrow or closely spaced branches. So the pruning saw is used for the facilitate pruning or cutting of the green wood. Thank you.